We're here on a permanency hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Lucero is with us representing the mother, Ms. Cassius, who is with us, and Ms. Mullinax is with us representing Mr. Rodriguez, the father, who is with us. That accounts for all the parties. I have Nancy Hart Hernandez, Jasmine Devereaux, and Lisa Hooper in the waiting room.
Can you let Jasmine Devereaux and Lisa Hooper in, please?
All right, thank you. Ms. Wiggins?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Hooper, are you the caseworker for the two children?
Yes.
And are the boys still currently placed with paternal grandparents?
Yes.
And how are they doing in that placement?
They're doing very, very well. Excuse me. Little Nehemiah has constantly had little problems with his ears. Caregiver is trying to make a second doctor's appointment to have his hearing tested. And she says that will dictate if he needs tubes in his ears. So really, other than that, that's the only health issue for either boy. Elijah had a little bit of a diaper rash. We think it was teething, but other than that, they are both doing very, very well. Daycare is good. So they're doing good.
And as far as the mom's services, it looks like she's completed her services except for some couples counseling. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And they have started the couples counseling. I know they've had one session. That's what has been reported back from the counselors. They have started that.
And how are her unsupervised visitations going?
They're going well. She has them on Mondays from 9 to 11. And then I believe again on Wednesdays from 9 to 11. And she picks them up from daycare, takes them to her home, and then takes them back to daycare. So they're going very well.
And as far as the father, how is he working on his services?
He's doing well also. He has he's delayed in getting the BIP registered. Initially, he was going to go to Amarillo to the BIP that St. Francis pays for. And he registered there and then changed his mind due to the cost of going back and forth to Amarillo, and decided to sign up with Apple Recovery. It's an online BIP. He was able to start there. St. Francis was working to get a contract with Apple Recovery so we could pay for that. Last week, I was informed by our service provider representative that Apple Recovery did not want to do a contract with St. Francis. They wanted to do just self-pay. So I haven't really found out why they chose not to get in a contract with St. Francis, but that is the most updated information that I have regarding Apple Recovery.
Okay. And just to clarify, it's not just a requirement for St. Francis, but also his probation as well.
Correct.
So that would be something that he would have to do regardless of whether St. Francis is still in the case.
Correct.
Now, in regards to his visitation, how is that going?
They are going well. He missed several visits in July. One of them, 1 week was because caregiver was out of town on vacation with the little boys. One time Gloria was sick. And then another week, he just didn't show up. He didn't call. He didn't cancel. After I spoke with him, he did schedule for that weekend to make up those visits, but it has been sporadic on and off for the month of July.
Now, regarding who supervises those, who's the current supervisor of his visits with his sons?
The placement, Gloria Rodriguez.
And in regards, I guess there was a possible recommendation from counseling that someone else supervise the visits.
Correct. The counselor stated that Jonathan had reported he felt that placement was holding him back a little bit, and he asked maybe that they be somewhere else other than the placement's home.
Okay. And is St. Francis willing to find someone with St. Francis to supervise those so he can have them outside of that home if he chooses?
Yes.
Now, in regards to reunification, that's still the goal. Is that correct?
Can you say that again, please?
Sorry, as far as reunification, is that still the goal?
Yes, ma'am.
And how is the department progressing on reunification at this time?
I staffed this last week, and we have discussed starting a 6-week reunification calendar with Ignacia, the mother, hopefully starting this week. We would add another unsupervised visit for the first 2 weeks on Friday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then after the first 2 weeks, if all goes well there, then we would add an overnight stay with Ignacia. Her days off are Wednesday and Thursday, so that would be Wednesday night. She'd pick them up from daycare and then take them back to daycare the next day. Do that for 2 weeks, and then we will reevaluate, to add more or however we can do it after those 2 weeks.
Okay. And have you been able to discuss that with the mother?
Yes.
And obviously, is she on board with that plan?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
No new mom.
And in regards to the case, do you feel that it would be contrary to the welfare of the children to be returned immediately today?
Yes.
Do you believe that since the case has been going on for about 9 months, that it would be better to do a slower reunification process at this time?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Lucero?
Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Hooper, so if I'm understanding this correctly, it'll be continue Mondays and Wednesdays from 9 to 11, and then it'll be for that'll be for a couple of weeks, and then after that it'll be like an overnight. Well, it'll increase to Friday from 4 to 7 p.m. for 2 weeks, and then an overnight stay. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And as far as transportation, has Ignacia have Ignacia and placement worked out something for pickup and drop off as far as you know?
Placement's schedule changed, and so placement was not able to bring the boys to her anymore. Ignacia has worked out using public transportation for the 2 visits that she's having now, and she would use that also for the 3rd visit on Friday.
All right. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Mullinax?
Ms. Hooper, is St. Francis able to transport Jonathan to the BIP classes?
To Amarillo?
Yes.
I told him initially that I can request transportation. Right now, we are having issues with transportation canceling on us quite often due to them not having enough employees. So I can't guarantee that they have transportation every week because of that.
So he can't do the online BIP class unless he pays for it, and he can't get to Amarillo unless he finds his own transportation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you said that his visits were sporadic for the month of July, but at least a couple of those weeks were not his fault. Is that right?
1 week was not his fault, and then 1 visit was not his fault. It wasn't a whole week. It was just 1 visit for the 2nd week.
And so when you say sporadic, it was only 2 visits that he missed that were his fault, correct?
No, that's not correct.
Well, in your report, it says that for the week of July 1st to the 7th, the family was out of town, correct?
I didn't understand what you said. Can you say that again?
In your report, it says for the week of July 1st to the 7th, the family was out of town, correct?
Correct.
So he couldn't have had a visit that week, right?
Correct.
And then his mother was sick and he didn't have a visit that day, correct?
Correct.
And there were 2 other visits that he missed, correct?
There was 1 other visit the week that caregiver was sick. And then the next week, his regular 2 visits. So that's 3 visits.
And so you put the 3 visits in your report?
I should have if I didn't. That's incorrect if I did not.
Okay. And then you actually, you said a possible recommendation from the counselor to have another person supervise. You remember that testimony?
Yes.
And the recommendation was actually to have his father supervise. Is that right?
No. I believe that was for, well, maybe that was correct. I apologize. Yes.
And why are his visits still required to be supervised when moms are unsupervised?
He has not gotten a recommendation from the counselor.
And mom had a recommendation from the counselor?
Yes, ma'am.
Which counselor is doing the recommendation? Is the one for him or for the child?
Him.
And so it's a person that's suggesting unsupervised visits has never met the children at all?
No.
It is not, or it is?
The counselor that sees him is not the counselor that sees the children. The children are not in counseling. Is that what you asked?
So my question is, the person that's making the recommendation is not a person that's ever met the children. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
Lisa, it was reported to us that there was an issue with mom driving the children without a driver's license. Has that been resolved?
The one time that she came to pick up the children, she had someone else driving her. She states that person did have a driver's license, but other than that, she has not driven to pick up the kids or to drop off the kids with her driving with no driver's license.
Do you know if mom has a driver's license?
No, she does not.
Well, if we're going to reunify the kids with her, how's she going to get the kids where they need to be without a driver's license?
Public transportation as she's using now.
Is there any reason she can't get a driver's license?
Yes.
And what is that reason?
She is working on paying off tickets, past tickets. After she gets those tickets paid off, she will be able to get a license again.
All right, pass witness.
Ms. Hooper, is that the same with Mr. Rodriguez? I may have gotten my reports confused, but is he also paying off some tickets?
Yes, sir, he is.
Okay, so does he have a driver's license right now or not?
I do not believe so.
Okay, so he's in the same boat mom is as far as that goes.
Correct.
No, can I say something?
Sure.
I do have a driver's license and it's
Okay.
valid. No DWIs or nothing.
Okay, so they didn't suspend yours. You're just still paying off some back fines.
Yes, sir. My license don't expire to the end of 2025.
Okay, all right,
I apologize for that.
all right. Ms. Hooper, you may not know the answer to this. Maybe Mr. Rodriguez does. If he's ordered to do BIP as part of, I guess, probation, do they not pay for that? Is that on him?
Correct. They do not pay for it.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else have further questions for Ms. Hooper?
No,
No.
Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Wiggins, any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, arrest.
Thank you. Ms. Lucero, any witnesses?
Your Honor, I'd like to call my client for a few questions, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Lucero.
And I apologize for the kids because I'm having a visit, so it's a little bit loud here.
That's okay. We'll get through it.
All right, Ignacia, currently, what's your work schedule? What days do you work?
I work Monday through Sunday. I'm off Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, and currently, and what time do you go in? Like today you work, what time do you go in?
I usually work C shift, which is 10 at night till 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, and currently you said you have the kids with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so your visit today is Mondays from 9 to 11 and Wednesdays from 9 to 11?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, are you in a position that if the court permits it, that you have longer visits instead of 9 to 11, maybe like 9 to 1, or does 9 to 11 work for you right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right then. Okay, and you're working on getting those fines paid off, is that correct, for your driver's license?
Yes, ma'am. I sent you a receipt. I was paying $2,200, but I'm down to $800 now.
Okay, very good. Okay, all right then. So again, just to be clear, if the court approves, you'd like to have longer visits on Mondays and Wednesdays, maybe like 9 to 1 instead of 9 to 11?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right then. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Wiggins.
Ms. Cassius, you said that you work the C shift, which is overnight. Do you have someone, if the children are reunified with you, do you have a plan for the children to be with you at that,
Yes, ma'am.
at that time?
I've already spoke to my manager, and after 6 weeks, I'll be moving from A shift to A shift from C shift. So I'll be working 6 to 2.
Okay. All right. I'll pass witness, Judge.
Ms. Mullinex.
No questions.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right. Ms. Lucero, any other witnesses?
Your Honor, I don't have any other witnesses. I just asked the court to consider, extended visits on Mondays and Wednesdays. She's using public transportation, so by the time she picks them up and gets to where she's going, and she's doing really well. So I would ask for longer visits on Mondays and Wednesdays.
All right,
Thank you.
Ms. Mullinex, any witnesses?
I called Jonathan Rodriguez.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mullinex.
Thank you. Jonathan, were you present in the virtual courtroom when Ms. Hooper testified?
Yes,
Did you hear her testify that you had said you didn't want the visits at your mom's house anymore?
yes.
Did you tell your counselor that you didn't want the visits at your mom's house anymore?
Well, I didn't actually tell her that I didn't want visits there at my mom's. I was just answering a question that she had asked me in one of the sessions about, I guess, like if I feel different from the way she treats me and my brother, you know, in some sort of way. But it wasn't necessarily me telling her that I didn't want visits at my mom's for any for you know anything like that. It was just like a question that she had asked me if I thought different from how she treats me and treats my brother.
Okay. And with regard to the BIP classes, have you been able to get those started?
I did orientation. That's when I thought St. Francis was going to pay for them, and then when I found out they weren't going to pay for them, I talked to the administrator, which her name is Maria Perez, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and pay for them. I mean, because it's hard for me to get to Amarillo once a week.
You're
To
talking
do them
about
for
paying
free.
online?
What's that, ma'am?
You're talking about paying for them online, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just honestly, I mean, I'm kind of leaning forward to that. I mean, because just virtual will probably be a little bit easier for me than having to worry about going to Amarillo once a week to do the BIP. So
Okay.
her and I discussed the payment plan.
Okay. And so you have, I think you've had 2 hour supervised visits for a while now. What are you requesting from the judge?
Well, I like to have, honestly, I mean, I like to have unsupervised visits. I really don't know why my visits have to be supervised. I mean, if that's all possible.
And have you completed, other than BIP, what other courses or classes do you have left to complete?
Really just a bit. I have one counseling session, which I'm doing on Wednesday. That's my last individual counseling session. And then we just started this couples counseling that I guess they suggested last week. So
And so are you asking for, if the court would allow you to have unsupervised or at least some additional supervised visits if he's not going to have them unsupervised?
yes, ma'am. That'll either or will be fine.
I pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Wiggins?
Mr. Rodriguez, understand that the reason for, or one of the reasons for removal was domestic violence. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And so do you understand that BIP, the Batters Intervention and Prevention Program, is pretty crucial service for your court, for the court, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Lucero?
And no questions for Mr. Rodriguez, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram?
So, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm confused. Are you okay with your mom continuing to supervise visits, or do you want it changed?
I'm okay with my mom. I mean, I have no problem with my mom. I mean, she's my mom. How can I have a problem with my mom?
Okay.
So I mean,
you said that's fine. You answered. You said that you're going to do couples counseling. So are you and Ms. Cassius still a couple?
well, we're doing it at, I mean, because it's not necessarily us being a couple. It's just helping us also for us to co-parent. I mean, just to be co-parents to our kids. I mean, we got to co-parent one way or another.
Okay, thank you. Pass witness.
Anybody else have questions for Mr. Rodriguez? All right, Mr. Rodriguez, you said you do have one more individual counseling session this week?
Yes, sir. I have it Wednesday, I believe, will be my last individual counseling session.
Okay, and who's that with?
Imelda Birch is her name.
Okay. If you do this, why don't you ask her if she has any objections to you having unsupervised visits? Because the testimony I've heard is that's the only difference between you and Ms. Cassius is that her counselor recommended unsupervised. So why don't you ask, and let your lawyer know if some counselors will say, that's not my job to make a recommendation on that. That's fine. I can consider it without that. But that keeps everybody on the same track as long as we make everybody follow the same rules. If your counselor says, I don't have any problem with him having unsupervised, the court doesn't have that problem either. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I can do that.
And just let your lawyer know if your counselor says for whatever reason, I don't make those kind of recommendations. Let your lawyer know. I'm not sure it's going to affect what I rule anyway, but we can, if somebody's got a real objection, then we'll have to take that up. But yeah, but just ask the question so we'll know.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Judge, Lorene sent me a message saying that Hope's Door New Beginning Center may have cheaper BIP classes. I don't know anything about it, but she sent me that message. So if the court's familiar with that, I don't know.
I had that, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I had that, I have another guy on a different case, and CPS was, or the department was okay with this Hope's Door New Beginning Center. It's an online class, and it was approved by them, and so I just thought maybe Mr. Rodriguez might want to look into that, because it is online and cheaper.
Okay.
What did you say the name of it was? Hope's Door?
Hope's Door New Beginning Center.
Miss Lucero, do you happen to recall who's the St. Francis worker on the case that was approved for?
I know it's on a participation of services case, Your Honor. I can send that over to Ms. Hooper so she can reach out to that person.
Yeah, that'd help if we can get together so they can find it. As long as the department's approved it before, I've got no problem with that, especially if it's cheaper for Mr. Rodriguez. So, okay.
And I'll email
Can I
him.
say
the
something?
name of
Everybody's talking at once.
Can I say something? It's about the whole program.
Uh-huh.
That should be started in 2 months.
I'm sorry, what?
It should be started anywhere from 90 to 90 days, I think they said. The whole program.
Oh,
The one we're talking about now, the BIP?
Ah, okay.
I think she's talking about the In-Home Hopes program. It's a
Oh,
different program, Ms.
That's not
Coffey.
what we're talking about. We're talking about a BIP program that's called Hope, whatever it was, New Beginnings.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just ask you, Ms. Cassius,
Yes.
do you have a problem with Mr. Rodriguez having unsupervised visits?
I do not.
Okay, then I'm okay. That answers my question. Okay, thank y'all. All right. Anybody have any other witnesses?
Okay.
Okay, then, Mr. Ingram, recommendations.
Continue department's temporary managing conservator, continue placement as is. And I don't have any objection to Mr. Rodriguez beginning unsupervised visits. I agree with Aaron. It makes no sense for a counselor that's never even met the kids to make that recommendation. So.
Right, okay. All right, give me just a second. All right, then, I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the children's current placements. I'll order that Mr. Rodriguez's visitation will be unsupervised beginning with his next visitation period. And I will order that Ms. Cassius' visitation, unsupervised visits on Mondays and Wednesdays be increased from 9 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. I do approve, for what it's worth, I do approve this 6-week, what I would call a transition monitored return plan. So for what I heard, I'm approving that to step her up. So, okay.
Your Honor, I did look it up. Erica Flores is a permanency specialist that's familiar with that Hope's Door New Beginning.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Lucero. Did you get that, Ms. Hooper? Yeah, she did. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to set a final in this case for November 4th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of here on an initial November 4th hearing to see exactly what time we'll have. Mr. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Naranjo is with us representing the mother, Ms. Olguin. Let's see, I don't see, I haven't let her in. I'm sorry. I'm letting Ms. Naranjo in. Then I have Nancy Hernandez and Mickey Lane in the waiting room.
Nancy Hernandez is my witness and Mickey Lane is my caseworker on this one, Your Honor.
Okay. Naranjo has joined us now. Ms. Naranjo, I assume that's your client with you?
Yes, Judge.
All right. And Ms. Mullinax is with us representing the father, Albert Pantoja. I don't see him in my waiting room. Ms. Mullinax, were you expecting him?
Your Honor, he was sent the link on the 6th and I have not heard from him, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. All right. This case was set for 9:30. It's 9:36. We'll go ahead and proceed in his absence. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Oh, it's my case, Your Honor. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Wiggins. I had that. I'm looking at my last case. All right.
That's all right.
You may proceed.
And Your Honor, I keep track of who's actually in the hearing. Is Ms. Holguin with Kendra?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. And the department calls Nancy Hernandez as its witness.
All right, I'll get her in.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hernandez, what is your profession?
I'm a retired clinical social worker.
And during the month of May, I
beg your pardon?
apologize.
Y'all are talking over each other.
I'm contracting to do family monitoring for court-ordered families where children are in care.
And were you doing that for Choices Counseling in Lubbock, Texas during the month of May 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you supervise visitation for Albert Pantoja with his children?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall approximately how many visits you supervised for him?
3, I believe.
All right. Do you recall what issues occurred, if any, during the first visit?
I've got my notes here. I need to look at them. I don't think there was any issue during the first visit.
And during the second visit, were there any issues, or rather, what were the issues, if any, during the second visit?
Okay. During the second visit, I saw Judah crying, the little boy. And I hadn't heard the interaction. So I went in and asked what was going on. The issue was basically the phones on that second 5-4, May 4th. Dad was using his phone and Judah was using a separate phone, and I reminded Dad that phones and electronics were not allowed unless it created interaction between parent and child. Dad asserted in an argumentative manner that caseworker had approved and that Judah was doing homework. So I said, well, if you do his homework with him, if you two are working together on something, that's okay. And they did. They worked together on the homework. Dad was helping Judah.
And then on the third visit, what day did that third visit occur on?
May 11th, 2024.
And how did that visit go for Mr. Pantoja with the children?
That was the situation. I was mistaken on the last one, where Judah was crying and
Ma'am, do you need a minute? Excuse me. Do you need a minute to look at your notes before you testify?
Okay, I can't read them, right, sir, Your Honor?
Well, you can refresh your memory with them, but if you need a minute doing that rather than trying to search every time you're asked a question, I'll give you that time to do that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to have a minute.
Sure, go ahead. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Gutierrez, if you re-ask your question.
Yes, sir. And what issues occurred during that visit, Ms. Hernandez?
I'm sorry, this is very uncomfortable for me. Judah was crying and I went in and asked why he was crying. And Dad said, well, he's just being a crybaby. Nothing's wrong. And so I told him, and he was very sharp about it, very assertive, aggressive about it. So I left them alone. And he told Judah, did you hear that? She called you a crybaby. And I let them come outside to the lobby because Judah they didn't have any toys or anything. Dad hadn't brought anything. So Dad fed them and then just stayed on his phone.
Okay. Now,
And
Ms.
he didn't
Hernandez,
answer. Yeah.
let me interrupt you here. Following that interaction between Judah and his father,
Right.
did you and Albert have a conversation about what happened?
Well, I told him that calling his son a crybaby was not appropriate.
And how did he respond?
He said, I didn't.
Okay. What was his tone of
And-
voice?
Argumentative, hostile.
And later in the visit, was there more hostility from Mr. Pantoja?
At the end of the visit, there was. All during the visit, Dad just ignored the kids. At one point, he tried to give the baby who was on the floor, Galilea, he tried to give her her bottle, and she wouldn't take it handed from him. So he said, well, I guess you're too good to even hold your own bottle. So he picked her up and laid her across his lap, not cradling her, but just laid her across his thighs and gave her the bottle. Several times, his son asked him a question or made a comment, Dad, look at this. And Dad never responded to him at all after that point until the end of and Dad was on his phone the whole time, texting or something.
And I'm going to interrupt you here.
Yes.
Now, when everybody was leaving, was there some sort of interaction or argument regarding a mobile device or a tablet?
Yes, there was a tablet that a friend had brought for Judah to use. And Judah asked if he should go out and take it to the guy who was in the car in the parking lot. And Dad and the foster parent said, sure. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, he can't leave the building except with the foster father. And Dad got really upset. He said, I've told him he can. Foster father told him he can. Who are you to say no? And I tried to explain that was just our policy. The visit wasn't over until the foster parent took the child. And so Dad walked out. He said, okay, the visit's over. And he walked out. And after a few minutes, when he didn't come back, the foster dad took the kids and left. And then he came back in, got his things. Dad came back in, got his things, and walked out.
And following that visit, did you decline to supervise any more visits for Mr. Pantoja?
I declined, after talking to my supervisor, I declined to see him on a Saturday when I was the only person in the office. And I said that I told the caseworker that he needed to be reminded that the rules or expectations needed to be followed. And I wasn't supposed to have to, argue with him. I didn't after his first hostile retort. But he knew. Pardon?
I'm going to pass you as a witness, Ms. Hernandez. That means the other attorneys get to ask questions.
Mr. Onho, questions?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Mullinax?
No questions.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right. Does anybody have anything further for Ms. Hernandez?
No, Your Honor. We ask that she be released.
All right. Ms. Hernandez, thank you for your testimony. I'll remove you so you can go about your day's business.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Your Honor, the department requests that the court take judicial notice of the permanency report to the court filed on July 31st of 2024.
All right, so noted, and I have read that report.
And the department calls Mickey Lane as a witness. Thank you, Your Honor. Mickey, since the filing of the court report, are there any updates regarding the children?
Yes.
Okay, who is the update on?
Both children, just an update, they're doing good in the home with Arturo. He was struggling with his schedule to meet the children's needs. We had a big staffing, we involved kinship caseworker in it, and we've approved several family members to be backup caregivers to help with the schedule for Galilea and Judah in his home.
And in your court report, it indicated that Judah is struggling with incomprehensis. I'm sorry, can you say that for me?
Incompresis? Yes.
And I apologize. What is St. Francis doing to help the child with that issue?
So Judah has been attending counseling to verify what is the ultimate cause. He's also been taken to the physician by foster parents and Arturo, in which they have prescribed a medication to help try to regulate him, to determine if it's actually a medical cause or a psychological counseling cause.
And how is Galilea's arm doing that was fractured at the beginning of the case?
Prior to being placed with the relative placement of Uncle, her wrist had healed and she was putting weight on it. She was doing very fine. And it's healed. And so she's doing good.
Okay. Now, regarding visitation, is Albert Pantoja having visitation with the children?
Yes.
Okay. Have you directly observed any visits with him and the children?
I have actually covered a couple of visits with him and the children.
And has anything concerned you, or rather what has concerned you during Albert's visits with the children?
Sometimes Albert, at the beginning, he has since gotten better, but around the time Choices Counseling was occurring, he was very verbally aggressive with staff and combative. The latest visit I observed in July, Albert did engage more with the children and did appear to be doing better and attempting to follow the rules with the children.
What steps is St. Francis taking to address the issues that Dad has displayed in visits?
We've requested therapeutic visitations. There's also services in his service plan, parenting, substance abuse, counseling, things like that to help gear him towards understanding how his behaviors of calling names to his child and things cause damage to his child versus nurturing.
And what names has Albert called Judah in your presence?
We did witness him calling him a crybaby, and just he does it jokingly sometimes with his children, but it's more of a cut down, like calling him a crybaby or you're stronger than that, stuff like that to Judah.
Okay. And how are Diana's visits going with the children?
Diana actually was doing really well when the children were placed in the foster home. She was collaborating with the foster parents very well. We then did a home study on relative. Arturo, we've moved the children. There have been issues with Diana understanding the rules presented to her and the process of canceling visits and uncanceling visits. We have spoken to the family support worker that is now supervising those visits. And he is going to readdress that with Diana so that she better understands how she is responsible for when she cancels the visits.
And by that, do you mean if Diana cancels a visit, St. Francis Ministries will not make it up for her? Is that correct?
Correct.
Have there been other issues regarding Ms. Holguin's visitation?
Yes. She speaks to the relative placement outside of St. Francis, and then they tend to both message at the same time to the FSW, usually Diana first, without giving St. Francis a chance to help them address the issues going on in their family, leading to concerns of behaviors continuing in the future.
Okay, and can you put that in plain language for us?
Yes. So Judah struggles with, honestly, during the visits with Diana, he struggles with authority. He struggles with authority with Diana. He struggles with authority with his uncle. And it's been pretty consistent with his behavior. When Diana and Arturo cancel the visit together due to Judah having a bad behavior, we are not able to help them, guide them in the direction to handle that behavior. And then she cancels the visit, and it starts racking up hours versus getting visits done on time and trying to work with all the service providers to address the issues in the family.
Now, in regards to services, how is Ms. Holguin doing on her services?
Since the filing of my court reports, and my last wording that her compliance was not that great, she had since jumped and started engaging more in her services. So her service providers have mentioned she is almost completed. She did test positive on her hair strand.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained.
Your Honor, at this time, the department offers petitioners Exhibit 1. It's with the business records affidavit, and they are, let me pull this up real quick. Drug screen results for a hair follicle drug screen on April 15th of 2024.
And that's for mother, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, on Diana Holguin.
All right, objections?
Your Honor, I would just object to, again, clarifying on with Ms. Lane if her testimony about that drug screen currently was for this one in April or for another drug screen.
Yeah, I read something in the report that there was one pending, but Ms. Lane, are you talking about the drug tests on the mother from April 15th?
No, on July 25th, which was filed.
Okay, all right. I'll sustain the objection as to the July drug test.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mickey, mom tested back in April on a hair follicle drug screen, and she was positive for cocaine metabolite and benzoylecgonine. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And does that cause you alarm?
Yes.
And she was also tested in July. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did those results cause you concern?
Yes.
Now, what services, can you give us more details on what services remain to be initiated?
Due to Ms. Holguin's continued positive screen, we have requested another OZAR.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay again.
Sustained as to any drug tests other than the one in April.
Okay. Ms. Lane, are we recommending or asking the court to order another OSAR or substance abuse assessment for Ms. Holguin?
Yes.
And has she initiated any substance abuse courses?
Yes.
And has she initiated her domestic violence classes?
Yes, but I have not been provided proof at this point.
And what has Ms. Holguin stated to you regarding domestic violence classes?
She had stated that the domestic violence was not even her fault.
And with the main issues of removal being abuse, allegations of drug abuse and domestic violence, as well as physical abuse or neglect of the children, does that cause you concern for returning the children to Ms. Holguin at the time?
Yes.
Would it be contrary to the welfare of the children?
Yes.
And do you believe it would present a danger to their physical health and well-being?
Yes.
Now, regarding Albert Pantoja, how is he doing his services?
I have no proof that he is engaged in any services at this time.
Did he drug screen for the department in July?
Yes.
Do you have those results back without telling me what they are?
No, I don't have those results yet.
Okay. Now, did he also drug screen in April?
Yes.
Your Honor, we offer petitioner's exhibit number 2, which is drug screen results for Albert Pantoja from an April 18th, 2024 screen. and the type of screen was a hair strand.
All right, objections? Okay, then petitioner's 2 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mickey, what concerned you about his April hair follicle drug screen results?
They were extremely positive.
And was that for cocaine and various, I guess, metabolites for that?
Yes.
And at one point, did Miss Holguin state that she and Mr. Pantoja were living together?
Yes.
Did she request couples counseling?
Yes.
Has she since stated that they are no longer residing together?
Yes.
To your knowledge, are she and Mr. Pantoja still in a relationship?
I do not believe so at this time.
So we're not asking the court for any couples counseling, is that correct?
Correct.
Are there any additional services we're asking to be ordered for Mr. Pantoja?
None at this time.
Are we asking for Mr. Pantoja and Ms. Holguin to drug screen today?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we asking for urinalysis screens only
Yes, ma'am.
on both parents? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. To your knowledge, has Mr. Pantoja started his batters intervention and prevention program?
No, ma'am.
And to your knowledge, has he started any substance abuse classes?
No, ma'am.
Do you believe that it is contrary to the welfare to be returned to Mr. Pantoja?
Yes, ma'am.
And additionally, would it be a danger to their physical health and well-being?
Yes, it would be.
Can you briefly state the reasonable efforts we have made to reunify the family since the last hearing?
Since the last hearing, we continue to engage both parents in their family plan of service, ensuring their payments are on file, meeting with them, providing a parent support worker who would go weekly to meet with them face to face to ensure that they're engaging in services and getting all this help they need to engage in those services. We have met with them monthly. We have engaged in visitation. We have done home studies on families to ensure we keep all connections as possible.
And also would you agree that we're offering services that target the specific reasons for removal, such as domestic violence and substance abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
And are providing services for Judah to help him with his own struggles, is that also a reasonable effort to reunify the family?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Naranjo?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lane, do you have any updates regarding the investigation that was done by the department on Galileo's injuries?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Now, currently for Ms. Holguin's services, she maintains in contact with St. Francis, correct?
Correct.
And she is working Padre, correct?
Correct.
And Padre addresses like substance abuse concerns and also parenting classes, correct?
Correct.
As far as Ms. Holguin's counseling is concerned, she has just one session left on August 15th, correct?
Correct.
Now, did my office communicate with you around August 6th regarding getting a release for family support services for the domestic violence support group?
Correct.
And have you provided that release to us at this point?
You were informed that y'all would have to go to the office to sign that form.
Does the department have a release form that they could send us?
She has signed that form. It does not work for family support services, why we asked her to go there and release it.
That's not my question to you. My question is, does the department have a release form that they could provide to us?
No.
Your Honor, if I may request clarification, is the release form specifically for family support services or a general release?
Specifically for family support services.
Okay, I apologize for interrupting. Thank you.
Did our office also e-file a letter from Family Support Services regarding Ms. Holguin's participation in domestic violence support group?
I do not believe I've seen anything for the domestic violence, but for other services, yes. Padre and counseling.
You don't recall receiving notice on August 6th of a letter being filed from Family Support Services?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, for the record, I'd ask to take judicial notice of the e-filing on August 6th of the letter from Family Support Services.
All right, so noted.
And did Ms. Olguin also provide an employment letter to St. Francis regarding her current employment?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Olguin has completed her psychological evaluation and her rational behavior training, correct?
Correct.
And those certificates were provided to you around April, correct?
Correct.
And you e-filed those certificates 3 months later in July, is that correct?
Correct.
Why did you wait 3 months to file completion certificates?
I filed them as soon as I got the chance to get to them.
Which was 3 months later, correct?
Your Honor, objection asked and answered.
Sustained.
Ms. Olguin has been negative in all her UA drug screens, is that correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to hearsay.
Sustained is to everything except the, well, no, because that was a hair strand. Sustained.
In your report, did you indicate that Ms. Olguin was negative in all her UA drug screens?
Your Honor, again, I object to hearsay.
Sustained.
Ms. Lane, do you have any expertise regarding drug screens or anything of that matter?
I'm sorry, can you explain what you're asking for me?
Do you have any medical qualifications regarding interpreting drug screens?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge of any relapse or anything by Ms. Olguin?
Can you say that again?
Do you have any personal knowledge of any relapse by Ms. Olguin?
Per the drug screen results.
Objection, Your Honor. I ask if you have any personal knowledge.
Personal knowledge, not what you've seen on a piece of paper.
No, I do not.
And any concerns that you have today regarding Ms. Olguin is based on that drug screen from July, even though you have no expert knowledge regarding any interpretation of that drug screen, correct?
Correct.
I'll pass away.
Okay. All right, Ms. Mellanax.
I have no questions.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, Ms. Lane, the drug test result that I saw for April also showed that Mr. Pantojo was positive also for marijuana. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I hadn't heard that mentioned. Okay, thank you. Okay, then, no one has further questions for Ms. Lane. Ms. Gutierrez, do you have any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. The department rests. We do ask for a finding of reasonable efforts to reunify the family on behalf of the department for the items that Ms. Lane has testified about.
All right, thank you. I will make the findings of reasonable efforts. One other question, Ms. Lane. I heard testimony. Are you asking that the court order that Mr. Pantoja's visitation be therapeutic from this point?
Honestly, with Judah's behaviors, we would actually like both parents to be therapeutic at this point.
Okay. All right. All right, then, Ms. Naranjo, any witnesses?
Your Honor, I don't have any witnesses, but I would object to Ms. Olguin's therapeutic visitation being therapeutic. I think the department's only really testified that she had some issues understanding the consequences of canceling visitation. And then there were some concerns about parental authority, but the department also testified that the uncle was struggling with that with Judah as well. I would also ask that instead Ms. Olguin's visitation be supervised by Mr. Olguin, the brother, or that it be increased visitation to at least 3 hours a week. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may recall Mickey Lane to respond to those requests.
Very briefly, we're running over already, so make it very brief.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department recalls Mickey Lane as a witness.
Okay,
Yes.
Mickey, what is the department's response to Ms. Olguin's request that her brother supervise visits?
At this point, the St. Francis has many concerns regarding the uncle and Diana's cooperation and the positive drug screen in July.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Sustained. Ms. Lane, you can't talk about the July drug screen. It's not been admitted.
Ms. Lane, additionally, are we concerned that some of the behaviors Judah is showing do need therapeutic intervention?
Yes, ma'am.
And was family counseling actually recommended in one of Ms. Holguin's services?
Yes, ma'am.
What service was that in?
The psychological.
Are we asking the court to order family counseling today for Ms. Holguin and the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And additionally, are we re-requesting that the OSAR, the substance abuse assessment, be ordered for Ms. Holguin?
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe you testified earlier that Ms. Holguin's compliance, so to speak, with visitation changed when her brother started being placement for the kids. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that cause you concern that those issues would escalate or increase if the brother was also watching visitation?
Yes, ma'am.
And additionally to that, does the brother's work schedule allow for any additional things like supervising visitation?
No, ma'am, not per what I have been informed of.
Okay, pass the witness.
Anyone else have further questions for Ms. Lane?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Very briefly.
Miss Lane, to clarify, St. Francis can do family group counseling and also do visits separately, correct?
Mickey, did you hear her?
Yes. Honestly, I'm not quite sure. I would need to look into that, Kendra.
But it's potentially possible that she could do family group counseling and still have visits separately, correct?
I would need to double check and look into it. I've looked into the therapeutic.
I'll pass on.
Anyone else? All right then. Ms. Mullinex, did you have witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor. Rest.
Thank you. Mr. Ingram, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue placement as is. Mom's visits to remain as they are. I ask you to court order the family therapy. And I believe that the father's visits should stop until he provides a clean drug screen. We're 6 months in, he's not working any services and he's still using.
All right. Okay, then I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the children's current placements. I'll order both parents to UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today at Care Express in Amarillo. I will order the second OSAR assessment for Ms. Holguin. I will order that Mr. Pantoja's visitation be suspended until he provides both a negative hair strand and UA drug screen. And then that any visitation he has be therapeutic in nature. I will order the family counseling for Miss Holguin and the children. Mr. Pantoja, I'm not trying to punish Miss Holguin by ordering an extra service for her, but Mr. Pantoja has not shown any inclination to do any services, so adding family counseling is probably a waste of time. So I'm going to leave the visitation as it is for now. I've got some concerns about some testimony I've heard about further drug screens, but I don't know what it is. So I'm going to leave visitation as is, except for Mr. Holguin, Mr. Pantoja's that's going to be suspended. So, okay, that will conclude this hearing. For those of you involved, I'll be back here just in a couple of minutes. Family first case, another Randall County compliance hearing on a previous order to participate in services. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Mr. Michelson is with us representing the mother, Miss Hudson, who is with us. I've got quite a few people in the waiting room. Liz Schiller, Abigail Lawrence, Rissy Walker, Keyshawn Mahone, and Kendra Bates.
Okay, I need Rissy Walker and Kendra Castillo Bates.
Okay.
And what was the first name you mentioned, Your Honor?
Liz Schiller, SCHILLER.
I wonder if that would be the worker. Let me let them connect and then I'll ask.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Kendra Castillo Bates.
Okay.
And are you assigned to work with McKenna Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is her caseworker with the Texas Families First program?
Hope McLean.
Okay. And let's see, we have a Miss Schiller in the hearing. Is that related to the case as well?
Yes. I am Hope's supervisor. Hope is not available.
Okay, thank you, Miss Schiller. All right, Kendra. So can you tell us how Ms. Hudson is doing on her services?
So she's kind of been slow into getting her services done, but we finally got moved a step forward. She's doing better. She's making some progress as far as her parenting goes. She just finished her second lesson. As far as her online classes, she's doing substance abuse and parenting combined with the online classes. With her counseling, she started that. She has had 2 sessions already. She's working on getting the third one scheduled this week. I know Melissa was out for vacation, so that's part of it too. The other one is the outpatient services. That's been also slow to getting started. She hasn't actually started that yet. We've done 2 outpatient intake screenings with those, daily recovery and the Northwest outpatient program. Something happened with the insurance where she would have to pay some of it out of pocket. So it just didn't work. And then there was a work conflict as well with her schedule. So we went ahead and referred her to the 90 and 90 program, which is 90 classes in 90 days. So she will get that started.
Okay. And is she complying with drug screens?
Yes, ma'am, she is.
Are there any concerns with those drug screens?
No, she's actually been doing fairly well. She's been screening negative, which is good. So.
Okay, that's fantastic. Are there any services that need to be ordered, additional services for Ms. Hudson?
No, ma'am.
Are there any additional services that need to be ordered for the child, Kinley?
No, she actually just got started in counseling as well. So she'll need to get set up with that second session this week now that they're both back from vacation.
Okay, I pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Michelson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Bates, could you explain the 90-90 program to me?
Yes, sir. So what I would do is I'll give her a list of classes or list of meetings here in Amarillo, and then she'll go into those meetings. She'll sign in on the sheet that we give her, and then she'll take notes in those classes. She'll be consistent in that program for a consistent 90 days. So she'll have a meeting every single day for 90 days.
So is it 90 AA meetings in 90 days?
So typically we let them choose. Some people prefer to go to NA instead of AA, but the principle is the same. So it's really based on what she feels works best for her.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the witness, Your Honor.
All right. This is, Ms. Bates, is Ms. Hudson able to do a class every single day? That seems a little excessive.
So we've talked about it. She's willing to do it. She shouldn't have any issues. It works best with her schedule just because of work.
Okay, but she, from what I understood your testimony, she has to actually physically be in the class, it's not virtual.
Yes, sir. Yes. But the good thing about the meetings is they have them in the evenings. She normally gets out of work by 4:30, so she'll have time to make it to the evening meetings. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the first time I've heard of this class. So.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Ingram, questions?
Yes, sir. Do you believe the kids' visits need to be supervised with mom? Does that need to continue?
Yes, sir, I would say so, just because she hasn't started the outpatient services yet. I would like for her to at least get started in that before we start discussing kind of lifting some of those restrictions.
Who is supervising the visits?
We are at the office.
Has there been any thought given to the grandmother supervising visits? Because
Yes.
Kinley's actually living with her grandmother, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your feeling about grandmother supervising visits if she's willing?
So she is willing. That's actually how it started off as. And then there was an incident that had occurred where McKenna was under the influence. They had gotten an altercation she got in an altercation with her brother. Kenley was present, and Kenley had made some statements about mom picking her up from the chair by her shirt and then backhanding her in the chest. There were no bruises or anything. But after that incident, we decided to move it to the CPS office, and that's how it's been since.
Okay. Do you feel like it would be safe to move it back to grandmother's, or are you recommending it continue at CPS?
No, I would feel safe moving it back. I've talked to grandmother. She's willing to start that back up. But like I said, I feel it would be best to at least get her engaged in outpatient services before we even decide to move forward with that.
Okay, thank you. Pass witness.
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Bates, if I understood your testimony, the altercation was between the mother and what, a brother?
Yes, sir, the brother. Brother didn't like the way that she was disciplining her child, and he got upset. So he intervened, and then they had an altercation. It wasn't confirmed exactly what happened. It's more of a he say, she say. So it was just best to move the meetings into the CPS office.
Okay, so if we go back to having grandmother supervise the visits, we could take care of that by ordering that the brother not be part of it. He's not part of this case. So he's not placement, is he?
No, but brother does live there with grandma.
Okay, well, that may be an issue then. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Bates?
I do, Your Honor. Ms.
Okay.
Bates, do we need any drug screens ordered today?
No, ma'am.
Nothing further, Your Honor. We asked for a compliance hearing to be scheduled out. We also asked for the 90 and 90 program to be ordered in lieu of, I guess, an inpatient or an intensive outpatient substance abuse program.
Okay. Give me a second. All right, then. Mr. Michelson, did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
I just continue with the order to participate, and I don't have any objection to grandmother supervising the visits again whenever they feel comfortable.
Okay. Well, I do. So, all right, then. Ms. Gutierrez, you mentioned a compliance hearing. How far out does the department want that?
I think just 2 months, Your Honor, would do well, 2 or 3 months. It just has to be within 90 days of this one, I believe.
I've got October 14th or November 18th.
Let's see.
October 14th is about 2 months out.
Let's do October 14th, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, then. I will just order that Ms. Hudson continue working the services as previously ordered. I will order that she successfully complete the 90 in 90 days program in lieu of any inpatient or intensive outpatient program. I'd call that intensive, but that's the way I'll word the order. That's the way it was presented to me. So I'm going to leave the visitation that it is right now. And I will set that compliance hearing for October 14th. It will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of October 14th to see exactly what Mr. Ingram is with us representing the child. Mr. Michelson is with us representing the mother, Ms. Standley. I don't see her in my waiting room. Mr. Michelson, were you expecting her?
I was, Your Honor.
Okay. Have you had any conversations with her recently?
I did last week, had a text conversation with her.
Okay. Well, she's not in my waiting room. And then the father, he's an alleged father, Mr. Miguel Cervantes. He is not in the waiting room. He had asked when he applied for a court-appointed attorney, he'd asked for paternity testing. At the last hearing, the department indicated they were going to intend to terminate his rights. I'm showing Mr. Taylor, William Taylor was appointed. He's not in the waiting room either. Ms. Gutierrez, is that still the department's intent to terminate Mr. Cervantes?
Yes, Your Honor, it is our intent to terminate Mr. Cervantes's rights. If Mr. Taylor can't log on, Your Honor, I'd go ahead and request rescheduling this hearing. I think we are within ample time of the dismissal date. But
Yeah.
Your Honor, if I could get Abigail Lawrence and Keyshawn Mahone in, please.
Okay. I also have an Erica Corsi. Was she involved in this case?
She is, Your Honor. She's going, well, I was planning to have her be a witness if she could be
Okay.
allowed in as well.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, very briefly, Haley and Brittany are working remotely. I want to be sure before we're through with this that Bill Taylor actually got appointed. So give me just a second before I'll bring them in.
Okay.
I'll bring, and Miss Wiggins just joined us. I'll bring everybody in, but I'm going to send them a quick text message to be sure Mr. Taylor has been appointed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, I've got a copy of the order appointing Bill Taylor from May 20th of 2024.
Okay, that saves me having to interfere with them while they're trying to train. So thank you, Mr. Ingram. I will get us a reset date and I'll be back here in just a minute.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Hello?
Hey, Ms. Corsi, we unfortunately, one of the attorneys, we are running late on docket, number one, so I apologize for that to everybody. Number two, one of the court-appointed attorneys has not been able to attend the hearing, so we are looking at rescheduling it. The judge is going to get some possible rescheduled dates, and then he'll coordinate with the attorneys as far as that date. You are welcome to stay logged on during that process, Ms. Corsi, but if you're wanting to log off, you can. And I think Keyshawn was on here as well, but I don't see her now. She probably logged off. Okay, oh, there she is. Hey, Keyshawn, the judge is getting some reset dates. You're welcome to stay on for that, or you can log off and I'll email you that new date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Ms. Gutierrez, what do you think? You need a couple hours for this?
Your Honor, I think I just need 45 minutes to an hour. I think also that I pled for an unknown father. I'm trying to verify that. I apologize for not
Yeah,
having that information at hand. We changed our system up.
Okay, yeah, we'll need, I was going to ask you about that too, because I'll need to appoint a lawyer for any unknown since Mr. Cervantes has not taken his paternity test.
Your Honor, is it possible that I could speak with Miss Lawrence and Tippy Watson after the hearing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
The original petition pleads both an alleged and an unknown.
Thank you, Harry. I just found it like 3 seconds ago. And
Okay, all right. I will go ahead then. I'll need to update our paperwork too to add an unknown father. And then I'll go ahead and appoint an attorney for him. Okay, they're telling me we've got time on August 26th, or if not, we've got September 9th. She told me just to check with Teresa and Courtney on what works.
August 26th would be better, Your Honor. The 9th is the start of our jury trial, and both Harry and I will be involved in that.
Okay, I will reset to August 26th. Okay, as I've said then, I will grant the department's motion for continuance. I don't want to proceed on a termination case without any alleged or unknown father having counsel. So I will, we'll try to figure out why Mr. Taylor was not here. And then we will appoint for the unknown father. And then we will come back and on August 26th to have this final hearing. Everybody can just check on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of August 26th to see exactly what time we'll have. We're here on a final hearing. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing the child. Mr. Michelson is with us representing the mother, Ms. Stanley. She's not in the waiting room. Mr. Michelson, were you expecting her?
I have not had recent contact with her, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Taylor's with us representing an alleged father, Mr. Cervantes. He is not in the waiting room. Mr. Taylor, were you expecting him?
I also have not had recent contact. I sent him the link, but I really don't expect him, Your Honor.
Okay, for the record, he's never appeared at any hearing. All right, and Mr. Saint is with us representing a potential unknown father. And obviously that person is not with us. So that accounts for everyone involved in the suit, parents being absent. This case was set for 1 o'clock. It's now about 1:02. I have Abigail Lawrence in the waiting room.
That is my caseworker, Your Honor. If she could please be allowed in. Your Honor. I do want to inform the court that we have an investigator for this case that is unavailable to testify today. My intention is to proceed with Ms. Lawrence's testimony and then to request a recess.
How long a recess are you requesting?
Not very long, Your Honor. The investigator had to be out of town for a mandatory seminar and she was unable to attend this hearing.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, we've got plenty of time. We don't have a dismissal date until December 2nd. So, okay. Then Ms. Lawrence, if you would unmute, please.
Your Honor. Is there a APD officer in the waiting room yet?
There is one that just joined. Well, somebody's just joined, Gatlin Keene.
Yes, I'd like to make Gatlin King my first witness.
Okay. All right, Ms. Lawrence, you can just stay where you are and I'll bring in the first witness. Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer King, who do you work for?
The Amarillo Police Department.
Are you a certified police officer?
Yes.
How long have you worked for Amarillo Police Department as a certified police officer?
About 4 years.
And did becoming a certified police officer require special education and training?
Yes.
Can you please tell us what that was for you?
We went through about 8 months of the academy and then the state testing.
Are you current on continuing education requirements?
Yes.
And on December 16th of 2023, were you working as a patrol officer for APD?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you encounter or have an incident where you talked to Rebecca's family?
Yes.
Can you please tell us what that call out was for?
We got dispatched for multiple witnesses stating they seen a white male hitting a white female as they were walking across Georgia Street.
And when you arrived at that location, did you make contact with the victim?
Yes.
And who was the victim identified as?
Rebecca.
And was that Rebecca Stanley?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did she state had occurred?
She said that her and her boyfriend Miguel were drinking at some apartments located behind Waterstill, and they got into an argument. She wouldn't really speculate over what the argument was, but so they left, and when they were walking, that he started hitting her.
Did you witness yourself or observe any marks on her?
Yeah, she had bruising on her arms, and I think a knot on her forehead.
Okay. And did you have an opportunity to interview Mr. Cervantes on the scene?
No, when I arrived, witnesses said that he took off in a black vehicle.
And was any arrest attempt made for Mr. Cervantes?
Yes, I tried to locate him when I got on scene to see if I seen the car anywhere in the area, but I did not. So I went back to the scene to speak with Rebecca.
Okay. To your knowledge, was he later arrested for this incident?
To my knowledge, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you.
Pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Michelson.
Sorry, I couldn't get my button to work. No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Also, no questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Saint?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right, then, if no one has anything further, can Officer Keene be excused?
No objection.
No objection.
Officer Keene, I'll remove you so you can go back to your afternoon's business. Thank you for your testimony and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The department calls Abigail Lawrence as its witness.
Okay. Ms. Lawrence, I think I've already sworn you in, so Ms. Gutierrez, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Abigail, who do you work for?
St. Francis Ministries.
And what do you do for them?
I am a permanency specialist.
How old is Gabriel currently?
He's 8 months old.
Thank you. Did you prepare a service plan for both Rebecca Stanley and Miguel Cervantes during the case?
Yes.
And were those service plans made in order of the court at the status hearing?
Yes.
Now, Abigail, when you created the service plans, were they tailored to the issues in the case?
Yes.
And very briefly, what were the issues that caused the removal?
Both mom and baby tested positive for methamphetamines and marijuana at the time of delivery.
Right. And was there also a history of domestic violence suspected between the couple?
Yes.
Now, did these service plans aim to mitigate the reasons for removal?
Yes.
And were they the department's reasonable efforts to reunify the family?
Yes.
And were their services uniquely tailored for Mr. Cervantes?
Yes.
Can you please identify 2 or 3 services that were uniquely tailored for Mr. Cervantes?
We felt that Mr. Cervantes would strongly benefit from parenting classes, as well as an OSAR evaluation for the suspected drug use by the parties.
Now, an OSAR evaluation, is that a substance abuse assessment?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And during the investigation, did Mr. Cervantes admit to methamphetamine use?
Mr. Cervantes did not admit at that time, I believe.
Do you recall if the mother made any statements regarding his methamphetamine use?
I do not recall.
Okay. Now, what other services were uniquely tailored for Mr. Cervantes?
Counseling, I think that could have been helpful for both the parties, to deal with the issues of removal and any issues before the removal.
And would counseling also have helped to address the domestic violence issue between the parties?
Yes.
Now, specifically for Rebecca Stanley, what services were uniquely tailored for Rebecca Stanley?
For Rebecca, I think that the substance abuse evaluation would have benefited and, tailored to her and the issues of removal, and as well as the, I don't want to say the same for both of them, but I think counseling would have really helped Rebecca as well.
And was she also ordered to do a substance abuse evaluation through OSAR?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Do you have a copy of Rebecca's service plan in front of you?
Let me get it right in front of me.
Can you briefly state each service and whether or not it was completed?
Okay. The first thing that we were asking is that she keep in contact with me and comply with the family plan of service. Neither of those did she do. We were asking that she maintain stable housing and provide proof of employment. She did not. We were asking her to demonstrate proper parenting techniques during her visits. She was offered visitation when I saw her face-to-face in April, and she chose not to exercise her right to visitation. We were asking her to complete parenting classes. She did not. To submit to randomized drug screens. She did not. Complete an OSAR evaluation. She did not. Complete a psychosocial evaluation. She did not attend individual counseling. She did not. And locate and identify a social support group. She did tell me that her support group was Miguel's family.
Now, can you go through each service for Miguel Cervantes and state whether or not it was completed?
Yes, ma'am. We were also asking Miguel Cervantes to keep in contact with me and comply with each requirement of his family plan of service. He did not. We were asking him to maintain stable housing and provide proof of employment. He did not. We were asking him to submit randomized drug screens. He did not. Complete an OSAR evaluation or a substance abuse assessment, and he did not. Complete a psychosocial evaluation. He did not. Actively participate in parenting classes. He did not. Demonstrate proper parenting techniques during visitation. He did not. And that was his family plan of service.
Okay. Now, in addition to failing to comply with your requested drug screen, was he also court ordered to, let me rephrase that. Was both Rebecca and Miguel court ordered to drug screen by hair follicle and urinalysis drug screen in the initial permanency hearing order?
Yes.
Okay. Going further back, were they also ordered to urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen in the status hearing order?
Yes.
And also going further back, were they ordered to urinalysis and hair follicle drug screen in the adversary hearing order?
Yes.
To your knowledge, were any of these testings completed?
No.
Were you able to locate Rebecca Stanley each month during the case?
No.
Can you please describe your efforts to locate?
So we, per policy, have to make 3 different attempts to locate parents. So each month I would go by their last known address. I've gone to their suspected place of employment. I've done jail searches monthly, as well as submitted finder searches for both Miguel and Rebecca, and visited those addresses that were listed. And I was unable to locate them.
Now, I'm going to ask that question now in regards to Miguel. Can you please describe your efforts to locate Miguel Cervantes?
Yes. So I visited their last known address, his place of employment. I've done the jail searches and finder search on Miguel.
And have you been able to locate him during the case?
I met with him face-to-face in April, and then I was able to locate him in the Potter County Jail this month.
Do you have any knowledge of why he was in Potter County Jail this month?
Nothing that he told me. He didn't want to speak about it, but I have seen his charges.
To your knowledge, has he been released from Potter County Jail?
Not to my knowledge, no.
When you spoke with Miguel Cervantes while he was in jail, did he give you a phone number for for Rebecca Stanley?
Yes, he did give me a new phone number.
Did you make attempts using that phone number to contact Rebecca?
Yes.
And did she respond?
She did not.
Okay. Now, going back to the visitation, has Rebecca consistently visited with Gabriel?
No.
Okay. Has Miguel Cervantes consistently visited with Gabriel?
No. And for Miguel, we were waiting on him to take the paternity test before we set down and schedule visitation for him.
Your Honor, I request judicial notice of the order for genetic testing signed by the court on December 15th of 2023.
So noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Abigail, did St. Francis attempt to set appointments for those genetic tests?
Yes.
And was Miguel Cervantes informed of those appointments?
Yes.
Did he ever attend any?
He did not.
Did he ever provide a sample?
He did not.
Additionally, in regards to visitation, is it correct that Rebecca and Miguel's visitation with the child was suspended until they could provide both a negative urinalysis drug screen and a negative hair follicle drug screen?
Yeah, any in-person visitation due to the child placement, it was looking like those visits would be virtual. And so then we might have had a little bit more room to set those up a little quicker, but.
Your Honor, at this time, I offer petitioner's exhibit number 3, the status hearing order in this case.
Okay, objections?
No objection.
All right, petitioner's 3 submitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I next offer petitioner's exhibit number 4, the initial permanency hearing order before final order.
Objections?
Also no objection.
Okay, 4 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Abigail, what is the department's long-term plan for the child?
If parental rights were to be terminated, we would be looking at the home that he's currently in to adopt.
And is the placement he's currently in, is that a fictive kin placement?
Yes, it is.
Can you explain to the court what the tie for that family is to Gabriel?
The family has known Gabriel's mother, Rebecca, since she was a child. And they've kept in contact over the years, and they have a trusting relationship between the two as far as Rebecca knows that her children are safe there.
And prior to Gabriel's removal, did Miguel Cervantes and Rebecca Stanley already have an ongoing CPS removal case for their older child?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, have their parental rights been terminated to that child?
To my knowledge, yes.
Your Honor, we next offer petitioner's exhibit number 5, the order of termination for is.
All right, objections?
No.
All right, petitioner's 5 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I next ask for judicial notice that the termination grounds are N, for constructive abandonment, and for O, failure to complete the service plan for both parents in that case.
Okay, so noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Rebecca, to your knowledge, did Rebecca complete services for the Bexar County case?
To my knowledge, no, she did not.
To your knowledge, did Miguel Cervantes complete services for the Bexar County case?
No, he did not.
And is that child, Angel, also in the same placement that Gabriel is currently in?
Yes.
And is that his biological brother?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you please describe your reasonable efforts to reunify the family?
I have created the family plans of service to mitigate the reasons of the removal. I have made monthly attempts to locate each parent so that I can assist with getting the services complete. I have offered my own transportation to get them where they needed to go. I've completed finder searches for each parent. I've sent the providers the referrals for each parent, and I've ensured my availability to them by continuing to try and get in contact with them.
Did you also request the court to order drug screening?
Yes.
Now, in regards to visitation, would it be fair to say that that Rebecca has not maintained meaningful contact with the child?
That would be fair to say, yes.
Okay. And would that be true also for Miguel Cervantes?
Yes.
Has the child been in the care of the department for at least 6 months?
Yes.
And would you agree that neither Rebecca nor Miguel has shown that they have a safe and stable place for the child?
Yes.
In regards to the service plan, do you consider that Rebecca Stanley completed her service plan?
No.
Do you think that Miguel Cervantes completed his service plan?
No.
Has a child been in the care of the department for at least 9 months?
Yes.
And has the department made reasonable efforts to reunify the family?
Yes.
Is it in Gabriel's best interest that the department be named permanent managing conservator?
Yes.
Can you give your best detailed answer why?
If the department is named permanent managing conservator of the child, he will have the opportunity to be adopted and grow up in a home with his biological brother.
And is it in the child's best interest that Rebecca Stanley's parental rights be terminated?
Yes.
Can you please explain why?
Due to the incompletion of her service plan, the reasons for removal have not been mitigated, as well as the lack of communication. It leaves no basis to see where she's at or what she's currently doing. So
now, in regards to Miguel Cervantes, is it in Gabriel's best interest that the parental rights of Miguel Cervantes be terminated?
yes.
Can you please explain why?
Miguel also did not complete or begin his family plan of service, so the reasons for removal have not been mitigated, as well as his lack of compliance with paternity testing to prove that he is the biological father of the child.
Now, during the case, what statements has Rebecca Stanley made in regards to who the father of Gabriel is?
When I had spoke to Rebecca, she did not give me any other names for father other than Miguel.
And when you have spoken to Miguel, what statements has he made regarding whether or not he's the father of Gabriel?
This month, when I visited him, he told me that he does not think he is the biological father of Gabriel, but he claims him as his own son.
And prior to this month, had he made any other statements regarding Gabriel?
He did not. Sorry. When I met with him in April, he did want to do the paternity testing before he began services.
And did you set those appointments up for him?
Yes.
And did he attend those appointments?
No.
Do you recall approximately how many appointments you set up?
3, I want to say 2 or 3.
And was Miguel Cervantes notified of those appointments?
Yes.
Do you believe that Rebecca and Miguel can, let me cut these questions up. Apologies. Do you believe that Rebecca Stanley can provide for the emotional and physical needs of the child now and in the future?
No.
And what statements, if any, has Rebecca made about methamphetamine use during the case?
Back in April, she did tell me that she was currently using.
Do you believe that with methamphetamine use, she presents an emotional and physical danger to the child?
Yes.
In your opinion, does Rebecca Stanley have the parental abilities to take care of the child?
No.
And likewise, with your inability or your struggle to keep her location known to you, would you agree that she does not have stability?
I would agree.
Now, in regards to, just a moment, Your Honor, I've got an incoming call. I apologize. I know it's an intake. Let me message Courtney and ask her to take the call.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. Now, Abigail, in regards to Miguel Cervantes, do you believe that he is able to provide for the emotional and physical needs of Gabriel?
No.
Do you believe he presents an emotional and physical danger to the child?
Yes.
And do you believe that the domestic violence issue has not been addressed?
It has not.
And would you also agree that the alleged substance abuse by Miguel has not been addressed?
Yes.
Your Honor, we next offer Petitioner's Exhibit 6, the complaint against Miguel Cervantes for assault on a family member household. It's out of Potter County. It is a certified copy, and the cause number is 85406-1C.
All right, objections?
No objection.
District 6 is admitted.
I object, Your Honor. It's an allegation only complaint. It's not a conviction, and it's hearsay.
Overruled. District 6 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And ask the court to take notice that in that complaint, it identifies Rebecca Stanley as the victim.
Okay, so noted.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department next offers petitioners exhibit number 7, the order of deferred adjudication.
Objections?
No objection.
Okay, petitioner 7 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Abigail, going back to best interest, and let me ask Amy. Amy, did I ask about best interest in terminating Miguel Cervantes' rights?
No, you just did emotional and physical danger.
Okay, thank you. Abigail, is it in Gabriel's best interest that Miguel Cervantes' parental rights to the child be terminated?
Yes.
Can you give a detailed answer as to why?
He did not complete his family plan of service, so we cannot mitigate the reasons for removal. He has been very inconsistent with his communication with me and scheduled appointments that he has stated he would attend. And so because of those and the lack of relationship with the child, I think it's in the child's best interest that his rights be terminated.
Now, during the case, has Mr. Cervantes ever contacted you to ask how Gabriel is doing?
No.
Has Rebecca Stanley ever called you to ask you how Gabriel is doing?
No.
I pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lawrence, I think Ms. Gutierrez might have asked you this, but were the service plans for the parents reasonable efforts to return the child to the parents?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you've already answered this. They've not maintained any kind of regular visitation or contact with the child, correct?
Correct.
So would you say based on that each of them has demonstrated an inability to provide the child with a safe environment?
Yes.
And basically they constructively abandoned the child?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Michelson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lawrence, I believe the last permanency report you had outlined Rebecca's progress up to, I believe, July 24th. Has Rebecca completed or initiated any services since that time?
No, sir.
Okay. And you had previously testified that you had received her telephone number. Has she made any contact with you?
No, sir.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Did Miguel actually speak like he was willing to take the paternity test, but then just failed to show up and actually follow through?
Yes, sir. He told me that he'd be there and he didn't show up.
Okay. And that's basically the same attitude he had with regard to the service plans. He was willing to, if it was shown that he was the father, but there was no follow through on any of it.
Yes, sir.
And as far as you know, he's still in jail at this point in time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Saint?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lawrence, has Mr. Cervantes been served?
I believe so. He was present for a hearing.
Right. You think he was? So you're not saying you're saying you don't know if he was served, but he was present. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you spoke to the mother in this case, did you ask her if there were any other possible fathers?
So I guess I didn't ask, that verbatim. No, sir.
Did you just ask who is the father, or is Mr. Cervantes the father?
Mm-hmm. Is Mr. Cervantes the father?
But as Mr. Cervantes has said, he doesn't think he's the biological father. There is a realistic chance that somebody else is the father. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Have you been the caseworker on the whole case the whole time?
Yes, sir.
And I know she'll be testifying at a later date, but do you know if mother was asked that question during the investigation?
Yes,
I
believe so.
The question that I asked about other possible fathers.
But I guess I couldn't say for sure.
Okay. And when you spoke to Mr. Cervantes and he said he didn't think he was the biological father, did he have any idea who could be the father?
No, sir.
Okay. Will you be speaking to him again anytime soon?
No, sir, not for this month, which I guess is almost over, but.
And when was the last time you had contact with Ms. Stanley?
back in April.
And does she have you tried calling her?
Yes, sir.
And does she not return your calls?
She does not.
Okay. And is there anybody else? Does she have a relative or somebody in the area who might know of any other possible fathers?
I'm unsure. I was given the phone number for Miguel's mother by Miguel, who was reported to be living with Rebecca. I've called her and texted her as well, and I've received no response.
Okay. After this hearing, could you send me that phone number?
Yes, sir.
And Miss Stanley, she doesn't have a mother or close relatives in this area that you're aware of?
No, sir. Her mother, I believe, is in California.
Okay. And have you had any contact with her?
I have not.
Do you have contact information for her?
I do not.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Mr.
Abigail, has there been a paternity registry search conducted in this case?
I have not done one.
Are you aware that one has been completed and filed with the court?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I ask you to take judicial notice of the paternity registry search filed with the court on March 21st of 2024.
Okay. Okay, I will take notice of that.
I also ask you to take judicial notice of the service for Miguel Cervantes from May 7th of 2024.
Okay. So noted.
Abigail, do you further believe that it'd be in Gabriel's best interest that any unknown father's parental rights be terminated in the case?
Yes, sir.
Pass witness.
All right. Anyone have further questions for Ms. Lawrence?
I just have two follow-up questions regarding service plans, Your Honor.
Okay.
Abigail, can you tell me what attempts you made to go over the service plan with Miguel Cervantes?
I met with him in April 2024, and I went over the service plan.
Okay. And was he given a copy?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you spoke with him in jail, did you attempt to engage him in services?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about that conversation?
I asked him to look into the parenting classes that are offered at Potter County.
Okay. And that was during the month of August 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And regarding Rebecca, can you tell me about your efforts to go over the service plan with Rebecca?
I met with her face-to-face in April 2024. We went over the service plan, and she was given a copy.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Anyone else? No?
No judgment.
Okay.
Okay.
At this time, I ask that we recess and reconvene so I can have the investigator come in and prove up the department's reasonable efforts to prevent removal.
All right. How long do you want to reconvene?
If it fits on the 23rd, I think the 23rd would do.
Is that a day that we have other cases? I don't have my calendar pulled up.
I believe so. We just put the Garcia one on that date on the 23rd.
Sorry, 23rd, we have free at 12:30 if you want to reconvene at that time.
Okay.
September 23rd.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If the lawyers will check, let the lawyers, y'all check your calendars because I don't want to set it for a date that someone can't be there.
No objection.
Are we saying 12:30?
12:30 on August, on September 23rd?
September 23rd, Your Honor.
Okay.
That day is good for us, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, James St. Here, that date is good for me.
Okay. Mr. Michelson?
That works for me too, also, Your Honor.
Okay. What did we say, 12:30?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you, Ms. Gutierrez, are you asking that I adjudicate Mr. Cervantes as the father for failure to comply with the paternity testing?
I think the evidence weighs against that at this point, Your Honor. But if the court feels that that's necessary, I can tailor my request for termination. I'm not planning on asking you to adjudicate him as the father at this time. But I'd like to reserve getting with my client and checking in with them.
Well, if I was going to rule today, would you be asking that I terminate any rights he has based on his failure to register with the paternity registry?
I think that the evidence that the investigator could offer would support adjudicating Mr. Cervantes as the child's father, and then we would ask for termination on the 161.001 grounds.
Okay. That's I think that's what I was asking anyway. So, but I just won't do it today. I'll do it when we reconvene. So I think I've heard everything I need today to adjudicate him under 160.622B for failure to comply with a court-ordered paternity test. But okay, we'll deal with it on the 23rd when we reconvene. So. Okay, then at this time we will stand in recess, and again we will reconvene on September 23rd, 2024 at 12:30 p.m. That will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of September 23rd to see exactly what time we will well, no, we already have our time, so forget that. We'll see you back on the 23rd at 12:30. We'll stand in recess on this case.
I guess we could talk here. Perfect.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
No,
Oh,
hang on. My bad. My bad.
I'm sorry.
On the breakout room. We're on YouTube and I'm listening in. So
Okay.
let me open the breakout room for the three of y'all. Y'all stay as long as you want. So we're here
Thank
on
you.
a motion to participate. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. I say he's with us. No, he's not with us yet. Mr.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Mr. Barfield is with us representing the mother, Miss Jackson. Mr. Barfield, I don't see her. I've got one person on a phone line. Were you expecting her?
I'm expecting her, mate. We might want to check the phone.
Okay. And then I have Mr. Saint representing the father, Mr. Appling. Mr. Saint, I don't see him either. Were you expecting him?
Good afternoon, Judge. No, he called me this morning and he's actually ill, so he will not be attending.
Okay, thank you. I believe that's the first time in our court. Welcome to our court.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, let's check the phone line. Besides that, I have Angelica Taylor in the waiting room.
Angelica Taylor, that might be my caseworker. I thought her last name was Garcia, Your Honor, but I might have it down wrong.
All right.
It's her.
Okay. All right. We'll get her in also.
Kirsten Jackson.
Okay. All right. For the record, Ms. Jackson, the mother is now with us. All right. This case was set for 12 o'clock. It's 12:03. We will proceed in Mr. Appling's absence. Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to inquire with parent attorneys, Mr. Barfield and Mr. Saint, if the parents are in agreement with working services. In regards to Ms. Jackson, the department is willing to forego the request for an assessment at this time since she has tested negative on a hair follicle and UA. Other than that, we are asking the remainder of the services be ordered, Mr. Barfield. And
Could I have a brief breakout room, Judge?
Certainly. And Mr. Saint, well, your client's not here. I'm sorry, he's sick. I don't know if you've had any conversations with him about an agreement or not.
I have, Your Honor. He's asked me to make a statement on the record. But he is not opposed to working services, so he'll be in agreement with that.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Barfield, I'll put you and Ms. Jackson in the breakout room. We'll see you when you come back.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if I announced it either, but we don't have Ms. Taylor, our court reporter, this afternoon, so this is being recorded to the cloud. If anyone needs a copy of this proceeding, you can get in touch with our office to get the link for that recording.
I got kicked out of Zoom, so I signed in on another device.
Hello.
Hello?
I'm not sure what happened. It cut me off when I was talking to you. And
it threw me out too. So I don't know if we're in the main session or still in a breakout room or what's going on.
You guys are in the main.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, we got kicked out for some reason, both of us.
Well, Ms. Jackson didn't get kicked out, but she didn't exit, so it takes a minute when I close the breakout room for her to come back.
Oh,
okay.
What do you mean?
All right.
We weren't finished talking though.
All right, we'll put you back in.
All right, thank you, sir. Hey, Teresa.
Yes, sir.
Would you and the department be willing to go in a breakout room with us so you could just kind of clarify exactly what services you would want her to work?
Yes. That would be me and Angelica and Melody. And you want you in that? And do you want your client in that?
Yeah. So her main question is what exactly, she just has questions at this point, exactly what is being requested of her. And I don't want to misspeak.
Okay.
All right. Who do we need in for that breakout room?
It will be Brooks and his client, as well as myself, Melody Zuniga, and Angelica Taylor.
And she may still be in room 1, Judge.
No, she's back.
Oh, she's back? Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
I had to go off my computer on my phone, and it's a small, tiny screen.
All right. I'm going to open another breakout room with Ms. Jackson, Mr. Barfield, Ms. Gutierrez, Ms. Zuniga, and Ms. Taylor. Where do we stand?
I believe my client, after our meeting, I think it was productive. I think my client wants to give trying to work this thing out a try at this juncture, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so you're telling me that, Ms. Gutierrez, you mentioned one service, I think that you said you were not going to ask that's in the petition for the mother?
Yes, Your Honor, there's actually two, it turns out, after discussing things with Mr. Barfield. We are asking for petitions for the services as identified in our petition to be ordered for each parent, with the exception for Ms. Jackson. We do not need a drug and alcohol assessment at this time. As we stated earlier, she has tested negative on a UA and hair follicle drug screen. We also do not need couples therapy at this time, as she has informed us she and Mr. Appling are no longer in a relationship. And again, if we need it in the future, we can request it again. And as far as Mr. Appling, we are also asking for services as laid out in our petition, with the exception of that couples therapy.
Okay. Mr. Barfield, you've heard that put out a little more specific. Is that your client's agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Saint, you've heard that agreement as to your client, with the exception of no couples counseling. Is that your client's agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. As I said, he didn't want me to make a statement to the court and to the parties, but he is in agreement.
Okay. All right, then. If you've told him you'd make some statement, I'll listen to it if you've told him you would do so.
Okay. Thank you. He's happy to work services. He was angry at first and wanted to contest because he stated that much of what was said in the affidavit wasn't true, specifically attacks on Miss Jackson and her abilities as a mother. And I explained to him that the courts appreciate that all allegations may not be completely accurate, and that the purpose of the hearing was to determine whether or not they would engage in services. And he's okay with that. He says he has not smoked marijuana in a long time. He does vape and Delta 8 or something, so he believes that's why it's showing up, and he's fine with that, with addressing that.
Okay.
But
all right.
he's fine with working services and thinks that they'll be beneficial, and he's happy to agree.
Okay.
He just wanted to make it clear that he's not agreeing to all the allegations that were made. And I think looking at the drug test results, there was no ecstasy or meth or anything like that showed up. So I think that just underscores his point. But again, that's getting off the subject of the hearing, which is service.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then. Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement?
I am.
Okay. All right, then. I will approve that agreement. I'll order Ms. Jackson to work the services as set out in the department's petition, with the exception of the drug and alcohol assessment and the couples therapy. I'll order Mr. Appling to work the services as set out in the petition as to him, with the exception of the couples counseling. All right. Do we want a compliance hearing in this case?
Yes, Your Honor, if we could get one about 2 months out. And additionally, we are asking for drug screens on, I'm sorry, on Mr. Appling.
Okay. Mr. Saint, did he say what his illness was? I mean, he's not got COVID or something, does he? You're muted. You're muted, Mr. Saint.
I'm sorry, I thought I clicked it. No, it's not COVID or anything like that. He was just sick all weekend and is just recovering.
Okay. All right, then I will order that Mr. Appling. What you want, Miss Gutierrez? Has he performed anything yet?
I believe he did a UA early on in the investigation. Melody, does that mean we need both a hair follicle and a UA?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll say if he's not feeling well today, I'll order that he both hair strain and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow. And if he's really, really sick, Mr. Saint, I understand, but he may want to provide a doctor's note. So otherwise, I'll order he hair strain and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. tomorrow at Care Express in Amarillo. Afternoon, everyone.
Howdy, Judge. This is Daryl Carey.
All right, Mr. Carey, who are you representing?
I represent the Franciscos, Leslie Dean and Johnny Francisco.
Okay, you're representing both. Okay.
And Judge, I was just going to ask if I could have a brief conference with Miss Gutierrez, we might be able to work this out.
Sure. All right. I'll put you in with her and Mr. Ingram.
Sure.
Are your clients both with you, Mr. Carey?
They are, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. That only leaves Deontay Dean, and he's a presumed father, but I think I've seen what happened with the other case, so
sure.
I'm not expecting him. So, okay. It looks like we're all back. Where do we stand?
Your Honor, I think we have an agreement.
Okay. Someone want to announce it?
Yes, Your Honor, I can. And a preliminary matter as well, Your Honor, we are asking the court to adjudicate Mr. Francisco as the father of the baby Dax and to dismiss Mr. Dean and the unknown father from as parties to the suit.
Okay, that's fine. I need to go ahead and make one admonishment. Mr. Carey, I'm sure you probably discussed this with Mr. Francisco, but Mr. Francisco, I need to admonish you that you are what's called an alleged father, meaning you weren't married to Miss Dean when Dax was born. That being the case, you have the absolute right to paternity testing to prove you are or you're not the biological father of Dax. Do you understand that?
It is, sir.
Okay, do you want the paternity testing, or do you want me to do as they've said and go ahead and enter a legal order today that adjudicates you as the biological father of Dax?
Please adjudicate, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, then you want to announce the agreement and then I'll just do it all at once?
Yes, Your Honor. The parties are in agreement to the department being named temporary managing conservator of the child. The parents, that being Johnny Lee West Francisco and the mother Leslie Aaron Dean, as temporary possessory conservators. They are in agreement with the adversary hearing order, Your Honor. I sent a proposed order to Mr. Carey. They understand that that has findings in regards to the department's reasonable efforts to prevent removal, as well as findings of the department's reasonable efforts to return the child home. They are in agreement with the orders regarding possession and access. There's no child support being asked at this time. The parties are in agreement to sign releases of information for the service providers, including the Veterans Affairs. Let's see. No home study is needed at this time, Your Honor, as a kinship home study has been initiated. The child is placed with family in Randall County. And there are some services ordered within the adversary hearing order, including parenting classes and some drug-related services that the parents are in agreement with. And I believe that that concludes the parties' agreement, Your Honor. We are asking the court to order both hair follicle and urinalysis drug screens today for both Mr. Francisco and Ms. Dean.
All right. All right, then, Mr. Carey, you've heard the announcement made. Is that your client's agreements?
Yes, Your Honor, that does adequately express our agreement.
All right. And Ms. Dean, Mr. Francisco, can you get to your drug test by 4 p.m. today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That will be, I assume it'll be at Care Express on Ross Osage. So the department, be sure and have the 2054 over there so that they can test today. Okay. All right. Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, then, based on the agreement that's been announced, first of all, I do find that Johnny Lee Francisco is in fact the biological father, and I will establish that relationship today. Based on that finding, then I will enter an order that dismisses Deontay Dean as the presumed father and also any unknown father. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue Dax's current placement with relatives, and I will order both parents to hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today at Care Express in Amarillo. All right, our next hearing will be the status hearing on September 23rd, 2024. That will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before September 23rd to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. I appreciate y'all working that out. Ms. Gutierrez, do you want me to bring in the witnesses so you can let them know?
Your Honor, if they are still in there, yes, please.
Okay, all right, I'll get them in. Otherwise, once again, I appreciate you working that out. We'll stand in recess. This was our last hearing for the day, so everyone's free to go. Y'all have a good week.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you all.